In the noise of modern life, we all crave one thing: peace. Not temporary peace like the kind that comes from a weekend off or a successful meeting. Not the fleeting calm of a spa or a good movie, but a deep, unshakable stillness, the kind of peace that remains even when life falls apart. We live in an age of anxiety. People are more connected, yet more lonely. We have more choices, but less clarity. Our calendars are full, but our hearts feel empty. Something is missing. That something is not outside, it's inside. Hidden beneath the noise, buried under roles, fears, and expectations, lies the untouched core of who we truly are. And the ancient teachings of Buddhism are not religious rules. They are keys that unlock this hidden peace. This story is not about religion. This is about awakening. This is about healing. This is about remembering what your soul already knows. And it begins with a man named Ethan, whose life was successful by the world's standards but completely out of alignment on the inside. 1. The burnout nobody saw. Ethan Parker was a man who had it all, or so it seemed. A six-figure job, a luxury apartment with glass walls overlooking the skyline, a closet full of tailored suits, an Instagram feed full of perfect photos. But behind the filtered images was a soul unraveling. He woke up each morning with tightness in his chest. Anxiety wrapped around him like a noose. His sleep was broken, his relationships strained, and even success felt empty. He had tried everything: therapy, meditation apps, green juices, productivity hacks. But nothing touched the inner ache, the one that whispered at night, "Is this all there is?" One night, after another long meeting and another lonely dinner, Ethan sat on his balcony and cried. Silently, secretly, ashamed. That's when it happened. He found a video, an old black and white clip of a monk walking barefoot through a forest, his eyes full of peace. No words, just presence. Something in Ethan cracked open. That monk had nothing, and yet he had everything. 2. The whisper of ancient wisdom. Ethan began searching, not for success, not for happiness. He began searching for peace. Late at night, he read articles on Buddhist teachings, listened to old Dharma talks, watched videos of monks who smiled without needing a reason. One phrase stuck with him. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. It sounded simple, but it shook something loose in his chest. He began to wonder, what if he had been chasing all the wrong things? What if the answers weren't in adding more, but in letting go? He needed a break, a real one, not just a vacation, a transformation. That's when he discovered the Lotus Gate Monastery, hidden deep in the Himalayas, accessible only by foot, off-grid, and rooted in 2,500-year-old Buddhist teachings. He booked a one-way ticket. 3. The journey inward begins. The monastery was nothing like his modern apartment. No Wi-Fi, no mirrors, no phones. Just nature, silence, and monks who walked as if the earth was sacred. Master Lee, the head monk, greeted him with only one question. Why are you here? Ethan replied, I want peace. Master Lee nodded. Then prepare to lose everything you are not. That night, Ethan slept on a straw mat surrounded by crickets and wind. It was the first night in years he didn't check his phone before bed. 4. Teaching number 1. Suffering is a part of life. Don't fight it. The next morning, the first teaching was shared. Life is suffering. Not because life is cruel, but because we resist what is. Master Lee said, pain is inevitable, but suffering is our reaction to it. The tighter we hold on, the more it hurts. Peace begins not when pain ends, but when resistance ends. Ethan reflected on how much energy he had wasted resisting failure, resisting aging, resisting emotions. What if the key wasn't to fight, but to accept? That day, he wrote in his journal, maybe I don't need to fix myself. Maybe I just need to stop fighting myself. 5. Teaching. 2. Everything is temporary. Let go gracefully. The next day, they walked by the river. Master Li said, "The river teaches the second truth. Everything flows, nothing stays. Impermanence." Ethan remembered his failed relationship. He had clung to it long after it died. He remembered his fear of getting older, losing status, losing money. But here was the truth. Nothing lasts. Not joy, not pain, not life, not even breath. And if nothing lasts, maybe he didn't need to hold on so tight. "Let go, not with fear," Master Li whispered, "but with grace." Ethan took a small stone from his pocket, a souvenir from his corporate life, and placed it into the river. It floated for a moment, then sank, and he cried. 6. First practices begin. Over the next week, Ethan was given 3 simple practices. 1. Breath awareness. Sit, breathe, notice, no music, no goals, just being. At first his mind screamed, then it softened. 2. Mindful walking, walk slowly. Feel the earth with each step. Here now, here now. For the first time he noticed trees, birds, his own breath. 3. Silent meals. No conversation, just eating with full awareness. He cried during one meal, not out of sadness, but because he actually tasted food for the first time in years. 7. The first inner shift. Something started to change. He wasn't healed, but he was aware. He noticed his thoughts without believing them. He noticed his emotions without drowning in them. He noticed that behind all his roles was presence. And in presence, he felt peace. 8. Master Li's warning. One evening, as the monks lit lanterns for the full moon, Master Li said, "You will want to return to your old life, your old mind. It will whisper lies. You are wasting time. This is foolish. But remember, awakening is not comfortable. It is truthful." Ethan understood. The journey was not about escaping life. It was about facing it fully, with awareness. Knowing is not enough, you must apply. Willing is not enough, you must do. Gautam Buddha 1. A week of silence. It had been 2 weeks since Ethan stepped into the monastery nestled in the Himalayan mountains. Every day began the same way. A bell ringing at dawn, cold water washing his face, and then silence. Master Li had announced, "The next 7 days shall be spent in total silence. Words have power, but silence has wisdom." At first, Ethan thought it would be easy. He wasn't much of a talker anyway. But by day 2, the real noise began, not from outside, but inside. His mind was a wildfire. Regrets from the past, fear of the future, old arguments replaying in loops, sudden cravings for his phone, coffee, news. Without distraction, every thought rose up like a wave and crashed hard. On the 3rd night, he broke down. Not because of suffering, but because of how loud his inner world truly was. For the first time in years, he faced himself. And through that pain came stillness. By day 6, he wasn't fighting anymore. The thoughts still came, but he simply watched them, like leaves floating down a stream. By day 7, he wasn't Ethan the executive. He was just a being breathing in the now. 2. Teaching number 3. Mindfulness brings freedom. After the silent week, Master Li gave him the 3rd teaching. Freedom is not in the future, it is found in the breath, in this very moment. Ethan had always believed freedom was out there, in a promotion, a vacation, a relationship. But now he saw that kind of freedom was temporary. True freedom is inner stillness no matter what's happening outside. He practiced. Mindful tea drinking, mindful walking, even mindful dishwashing. Each act, when done with presence, became sacred. He noticed how much of his life he had spent half awake, always rushing, always chasing, never truly arriving. Now he was here, awake, alive. This is the only moment that exists, Master Li said, and most people never live it. 3. Teaching number 4. Desire is the root of suffering. On a particularly cold morning, Master Li gave a talk beneath the Bodhi tree. Desire is the fire that burns peace. It whispers, just one more, then I'll be happy. But happiness never arrives, does it? Ethan thought of all the things he had chased: new cars, promotions, relationships, recognition, status. Each time he got what he wanted more. The moment never lasted. Satisfaction always expired. Now he fasted twice a week, not to suffer, but to see his desires clearly. He realized how craving ruled his life. Craving comfort, craving control, craving attention. But slowly, with each breath, he loosened that grip. Happiness is not when you get what you want, he wrote in his journal. It's when you stop needing to get anything at all. 4. Teaching, Burr 5. You are not your thoughts. One day, Ethan was asked to sit by the waterfall for 2 hours. Do nothing, said Master Li, but watch the mind. At first it was maddening. His thoughts swirled. What am I doing with my life? What if I never go back to work? Am I going crazy? Then he remembered the 5th teaching. Thoughts arise. Let them pass. You are the sky. Thoughts are just clouds. He sat back, breathed, watched. And something miraculous happened. He didn't disappear. He became more himself than ever before. For the first time, he felt detached from his thinking. He was not his fears, not his memories, not his plans. He was simply awareness. That night, he slept without dreams. The mind had finally grown quiet. 5. Teaching number 6. Forgiveness is inner liberation. On the 6th week, the monks held a forgiveness ceremony. Each person was asked to write a letter to someone who had hurt them deeply and then burn it in the temple fire. Ethan hesitated. He thought he had forgiven his father years ago, the man who abandoned him as a boy, leaving only bitterness behind. But when he sat to write, the pain returned like a wave. He wrote through tears. You weren't there when I needed you, and I carried that pain into every relationship I ever had. And then, in the flame-lit room, he let it go. He forgave, not for his father's sake, but for his own peace. Master Li said, to carry hate is to drink poison expecting the other to suffer. Let it go. Set yourself free. That night, Ethan felt lighter than he had in decades. 6. The unexpected breakdown. 2 days later, something unexpected happened. While helping in the monastery kitchen, another monk accidentally spilled hot tea on Ethan's robe. Ethan snapped. Are you blind? He shouted. The silence in the room was deafening. Eyes turned. The monk bowed apologetically. Ethan walked out, ashamed and angry. Hadn't he changed? Hadn't he grown? Why was the old self still there? He packed his bag. He was ready to leave. I'm a fraud, he thought. But Master Li came to him, smiling gently. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to become aware. He sat beside Ethan and said, even a candle flickers before it glows steady. The ego does not die in a day, it dies in honesty. Ethan wept. And for the first time, instead of running from his failure, he embraced it. 7. Integrating the teachings. Day by day. After that incident, Ethan changed how he practiced. He didn't try to be calm all the time. He didn't pretend to be wise. He simply watched himself with honesty. He kept a daily journal, tracking, practice, experience, morning breath, present for 12 breaths before distraction, forgiveness meditation, thought of boss, still angry, silent walking, noticed birds, sky, feet grounding, food awareness, tasted rice like never before, desire observation, wanted to check email badly. He realized that transformation wasn't a lightning bolt. It was 1,000 small choices, made every day, again and again. 8. Final words from Master Li. Before Chapter 2 closes, Master Li gave Ethan a teaching that would guide the next phase of his journey. Do not try to become anything. Just be fully here. Every time you return to this moment, You return to yourself. Ethan smiled. He wasn't done yet, but he was walking the path, not perfectly, but authentically, and that made all the difference. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. Gautama Buddha. 1. The calm before the return. It was Ethan's final week at the Lotus Gate Monastery. He had arrived broken, anxious, overworked, disconnected from life. But now something inside had shifted. Not perfection, not enlightenment, but presence. For the first time in years, he no longer woke up in panic. He no longer needed to control everything. He had tasted something deeper than happiness. Peace. Master Li approached him by the river. Your time here is almost over. You have seen the teachings. Now it is time to live them. Ethan was afraid. Could he carry this peace into the real world? Master Li only smiled. Peace is not where you are, it is who you become. That day, he was taught the final 4 teachings, the last doors before stepping back into life. 2. Teaching number 7. Silence heals. What words cannot? Ethan had learned silence during his first weeks, but now he learned to listen. True silence, Master Li said, is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of awareness. They walked through the bamboo grove without speaking, each step in sync, each breath aligned. Birds chirped, leaves rustled, wind moved. For the first time, Ethan didn't need to speak to feel connected. He recalled all the times in his life he had spoken just to fill space, to prove a point, to avoid discomfort. Now he sat with others in silence and felt closer than ever. Words often defend the ego, he wrote. Silence nourishes the soul. Practice applied. 10 minutes of daily silence before speaking, listening without preparing a response, replacing reactions with pauses. 3. Teaching number 8. Compassion is greater than control. One afternoon, Ethan helped an elderly monk who had difficulty walking. He carried water for him, washed his robe, sat beside him during prayer. No one saw, no one praised. Yet Ethan felt full. He remembered how, in his old life, he tried to control everything. Teams, outcomes, people. But control brought stress. Compassion brought freedom. To be kind, said Master Li, is more powerful than to be right. He began seeing people differently, not as obstacles or tools, but as fellow travelers. Even when a younger monk accidentally spilled tea again, just like weeks ago, Ethan didn't react. He smiled and said, "We're all learning, aren't we?" Practice applied, random acts of kindness. Pausing when anger rises, asking, "How can I help?" instead of, "How can I win?" 4. Teaching number 9. Ego is the greatest illusion. As the final week progressed, Master Li gave Ethan the most direct teaching yet. He brought him to a mirror. "Look," he said, "who do you see?" "Me," Ethan replied. Master Li shook his head. "That is a mask, a story. You are not your name, job, history, or personality. You are presence itself." Ethan stood in silence. He had spent his entire life defending his identity. "I'm smart. I'm successful. I'm not like others. I must be respected." But these were layers, not essence. He began letting go of self-importance, cleaned toilets without pride, meditated beside new monks with no titles, ate a last without expectation. And something surprising happened. The less he needed to be someone, the more peace he felt. When ego dissolves, only joy remains, Master Li said. Practice applied, humble actions without praise, daily ego check-in. Am I serving or performing? Letting others go first, without resentment. 5. Teaching, or 10. Surrender is the highest wisdom. On his final night, Ethan received a message. His old company had officially collapsed. Everything he once built, gone. In the past, this would have sent him into panic. Now, he closed his eyes and whispered, "So be it." Master Li sat beside him under the Bodhi tree. Suffering happens when we cling. Peace begins when we trust. Ethan thought of a leaf. It doesn't resist the wind. It flows, surrenders, lets go. This was the final teaching. Not to give up, but to give in to the flow of life. Surrender, Master Lee said, is not weakness. It is trust. That night, Ethan slept with no fear of tomorrow. Practice applied. Journaling. What am I clinging to? Evening surrender ritual. Let go of one fear. Trusting what arises, even discomfort. 6. Returning to the world. The day came. Ethan packed his few belongings, wore his robe one last time. As he walked down the mountain path, he wasn't the same man. His body was the same, but his spirit was weightless. He returned to the city. Same streets, same noise, same people. But he responded differently. He listened more, reacted less. He paused, he breathed, he loved, not with need, but with peace. He didn't talk about his journey, he lived it, and people noticed. They asked, "What changed in you?" He smiled. "I stopped chasing peace and remembered, I am peace." 7. Ethan's daily life, living the teachings. Every morning, he did 4 things. 1. 5 minutes of breath awareness, just sitting, no goal, just being. 2. Mindful tea. He tasted every sip like it was the first. No phone, no rushing. 3. Compassion practice. Asked, who can I uplift today? Sometimes a smile, sometimes silence, sometimes help. 4. Evening surrender. Wrote one fear or worry, then let it go. 8. Final reflections. Peace is practice. Ethan wasn't perfect. He still had moments of anger, fear, doubt, but now he was aware, and awareness was the key. He wrote in his journal, "I don't need to escape life to find peace. I only need to meet each moment fully." 10. Teachings, recap, final summary table. No, teaching, daily practice. 1. Life is suffering, accept without resistance. 2. Everything is temporary, let go gently. 3. Mindfulness, freedom breathe. Walk, be present. 4. Desire causes suffering, observe cravings. 5. You are not your thoughts, watch the mind. 6. Forgiveness, frees you. Release the past. 7. Silence is healing, embrace quiet moments. 8. Compassion, control, respond with kindness. 9. Ego is illusion, serve without praise. 10. Surrender is peace, trust the flow of life. Closing message to the viewer. You don't need to leave your job. You don't need to climb a mountain. You only need to beg,